Hey guys, what's going on? This is Jason. You're listening to the Mainstream Geek Podcast for April 8th, 2016. I am super sorry about my voice, but with all this crazy weather we're having in Ohio, my voice is just shot. It's been shot all week, and I have done nothing but talk, and that's not helping out at all. So please bear with me this episode. On today's show, we're going to be talking about Rogue One, a Star Wars story. The trailer for that finally dropped this morning, and we're going to be jumping into our thoughts on that. Doctor Strange, even though it just finished shooting, announced that they're going to debut the first trailer on Jimmy Kimmel Live this coming Tuesday, so we're going to be giving our thoughts on that. Cloak and Dagger, the Marvel comic book series, is going to be getting their own TV show on ABC, and DC is getting a little bit more nervous about their cinematic universe, so they're making some crazy changes based upon the numbers that Batman v Superman pulled in. And we're going to finish off with talking about how the Universal Monster cinematic universe is already starting to reboot what it started just 2 movies ago, so it's not looking too good for that franchise. As always, if you haven't done so yet, please make sure, whatever app you're listening on, that you are subscribed to the show in that way, and that you have left us a rating and review. That's what helps us grow, that's what helps us get more listeners, and it's the best way to support the show without doing so financially. If you find it in your heart to support the show financially, you can visit mainstreamgeek.com/donate, leave us $1, leave us $2, any amount helps. My personal suggestion is leave us $12. That covers you for the year, and you've given us $1 a month for the free content that we give you twice a week, as is now. Now, if you can't afford to do that, but you're looking for other ways to support the show that also get you something in return, think about signing up for a Dollar Shave Club by visiting mainstreamgeek.com/shave. It's something for the guys, it's something for the ladies, because let's face it, we all have something we have to shave in our bodies. So I get it once a month, I use it myself, keeps my face baby smooth when I need to shave, so give that a thought. If you want to start a little nerd collection, visit mainstreamgeek.com/nerdblock. Get yourself some toys coming to your house every month that keeps you from having to go to the store and deal with the shame of being an adult and buying toys yourself. They just come straight to you. If you can't afford to do any of those things, just visit the YouTube channel, subscribe to that, watch a few videos. That gets us a little bit of money every time you do that, so that would really help out. Share the channel, share the show, do all those things. Let's just jump into the show now. What's going on, guys? Travis is with us today. What's up, Travis?
Not much, man. How's it going?
It is going... That's all I can say, really. It's going. You can hear my voice probably. I sound like shit right now. I sound like shit to me. Does it sound like shit to you over there?
No, you sound awfully sexy. A little deeper. You got a little more bass. Like, hello.
Well, I had I've had like the worst throat thing all week this week, and it is just tearing me apart. I had to go to an awards ceremony for work today, and the entire time I was there, I was just coughing my ass off. I was like so embarrassed. And then it turns out to get the award, I had to go down a line of like the CEO, the CFO, and all of these people and shake all of their hands. And I was like, oh my god, how am I supposed to? Because I can't say I can't shake your hand in front of like a banquet hall full of people who are receiving awards also. So I had to go shake all the CFO's hands and the CEO's hand and everything. Like after I've been coughing into it all afternoon, it was awful. But
that's awesome and terrible. They'll always have a little Jason with them the rest of their life now.
Yeah. So you might hear me pushing the mute button on the old microphone a few times during this episode because I'm guarantee I'm going to be coughing my ass off the entire time probably. But we can't stop the news, Travis. We can't stop it at all. It pours in. I do want to mention one thing before we get started. I've been asking for donations for the past couple episodes, and we got pretty good size one in. It's actually from a girl who wrote us an email a while back. She was asking for advice on what movies I would recommend for her, and so I wrote her an email back, and we had a little back and forth, and she donated $20 to the show, and I was like, wow, that's a pretty good donation, so I just wanted to say thank you, Ashley Meadham. I think that's how you say her last name, Meadham. So thank you, Ashley. I appreciate the donation, and you're helping keep the server fees and everything going, so I appreciate
you, Ashley.
That.
You rock.
Yeah. Travis, as always, it's Thursday, and you're the trailer guy, man. I think we really are onto something here with these trailers being released on Thursdays.
I do too, because even though we missed last week, there was a new Suicide Squad trailer that released.
Yeah, there were 2 today, actually. There was a new one for Captain America Civil War. It wasn't a theatrical trailer, but it was a new trailer for that. And there was, of course, the big one, the Rogue One, a Star Wars story trailer. I keep wanting to call it Star Wars Rogue One, but
Right.
everybody jumps in your case when you call it that, so I'm going to make sure I'm saying it right. Rogue One, a Star Wars story trailer, dropped today, and I have to say, it was the tits, man. It was the shit.
I really liked it. With it being essentially a side quest, and I hate to put it in those terms, but not in like what you and Brandon were talking about, like not in the numerical like main story. I was a little hesitant, but holy crap, man! Being able to see the old stormtroopers and the AT-AT walkers, I felt young again. And I felt like that 4 months ago at Force Unleashed or Force Awakens. Sorry, I'm not at the video game. And it was just like, holy crap! Like, this is awesome.
Yeah, it looks great. I think I don't know why they're bothering going through with the Han Solo movie and the rumored Boba Fett movie. A movie like this is what they should be doing with these side stories, with these Star Wars stories that they're doing, because it really adds to, like, it adds to. I don't want to say expanding the universe, because it is really just adding to the story of Episode 4, A New Hope, by showing how they got the plans and everything. But they should be focusing on things like that. Things that already exist in the universe, in the movies we've seen, but kind of just expanding on those stories. Not taking a character and expanding on his backstory. But I was really worried about this movie leading up to it, not just because... I mean, I was sure it was going to be good, but I was worried because I thought people were going to be lost in what it was, or like it just wasn't going to hold up with the current story going on. But I think that the way this trailer looks, it's definitely its own story. I think it's visually its own story, and I just think it's going to be easy enough to explain to people that this isn't just the continuation of Rey's story from Episode 7. I think it's going to take some explaining. Don't get me wrong there. People are going to be confused about it, but I think it's going to be easy enough to clear up that this isn't Rey's story continuing.
I agree. I think that they should kind of ride the fine line, because it looks like what they were doing is they're trying to like piece together the New Hope, Empire, and Jedi with the new one. It just it's going to be Disney's way of like the glue that's holding everything together. Because hey, look, even though we've never seen Poe Dameron, there's Poe kind of hiding in the background. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of like tying everything together, the old with the new, without just like saying, oh, well, it all links together. They're kind of...
Well, they are doing that with the comic books and everything. Like, and like,
not quite a retcon, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
kind of just like what happens between the pages and the panels, and just to make everything a little more fluid.
Yeah. The one thing I am kind of concerned about with people getting this confused with Episode 8 would be that... sorry. They do focus a lot on Felicity Jones' character. I don't know if they have a name for her yet, but...
Was it Jen?
Is it Jen?
Did they say... I think that's what, at the beginning of the trailer, they say, state your name, and she says Jen something.
Oh, shit,
Jen.
man. I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, they state your name. Jen... Blah, 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 blah. I didn't catch the last name.
Well, that's awesome. I didn't know that. Well, okay, so they did focus on Jen a lot, and I could see how, like, if in a lesser movie to a person who didn't know what's going on, how they could think they just replaced Daisy Ridley with Felicity Jones as playing Rey. But and also the movie got a lot of heat today. Not heat, but dickheads when movies come out and they have a person who's traditionally white plays a black person, or like it's traditionally been the main character of Star Wars has been a male, and now it's a girl in 2 movies in a row. It's going to be probably for Episode 8 and 9 that people are mad now that it's another Star Wars movie with a girl as the main focus. And people are upset about it, and it's just a little ridiculous. But I was kind of concerned with them, with Rey and Felicity Jones, or Jen, you said her name is, both being English girls, brunettes. They kind of look similar, although I think Felicity Jones is quite a bit hotter than Daisy Ridley.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, she's crazy hot, man, isn't she?
Yeah, I was taken aback a little bit. This is the first time that that she's been brought to my attention.
She was in that movie. What is it called? Stephen Hawking movie, Theory of Everything.
Never seen it.
It was a good movie, and she was great in it. But she's a gorgeous girl. Like I would pay just to watch her in anything, actually. But anyway, so I do think people will get a little confused because it's another English actress, brunette, being the main character in the movie. But I think it's going to be cleared up pretty well by the time the movie comes out. I do think they need to drop that Star Wars story off of the title.
Yeah, they can't put expanded universe, but I agree. It just is. But if you don't put it there, are people going to know that Rogue One is a Star Wars movie? So maybe it's just a marketing ploy right now to get people, and in future releases they will drop, because Rogue One, unless you're a Star Wars fan, you wouldn't see that in a movie lineup and go, oh, that's a Star Wars movie. So
well, I think they would, because Disney and Star Wars they market things insanely, so everyone's going to know this is a Star Wars movie by the time it comes out. Now, they were calling it the Star Wars Anthology series, so that's a better title than a Star Wars story. But I guess they thought that not everyone would understand what anthology meant, which that's kind of not having a lot of faith in the general public. But they're probably right. Actually, I don't know how many people know what I'm not even clear on I know what anthology means. I'm just not even clear on the technical definition of it. I know anthology is like a collection of stories as opposed to like just one single story through line.
Right. It's a novel, or it's a book full of just short stories. They may or may not tie together, just depending on the author. But like one of the most famous anthologies is the Canterbury Tales. Like, I don't know if you remember that from high school, but It was the Road to Canterbury, or the Canterbury Tales. So that's an anthology of 8-9 different small stories, or short stories, but then all of a sudden they all actually kind of tie in together.
I don't remember that from high school, actually. Did you read that in high school?
Yes, it was senior year of English Lit.
I remember that from the movie Seven, when Morgan Freeman was doing the research on what the killer was referencing in all of his writings and stuff. That's where I first heard about the Canterbury Tales.
Oh, that was you found it at a lot better place than I did, because it was one of our senior projects, and it was abysmal because everyone had to take their own character, and then we all had to. Well, this is what I found out, and this is what I found out, and it just no fun.
So, what were your thoughts on the trailer? Let's go through the trailer real quick and talk about what we thought about it all.
I thought the trailer was good. I liked that it felt, and I guess that's why I said Force Unleashed. It felt like she was very similar to that character, like when, she's a rebel, and that was one of the other things that I caught very quickly was, you're a rebel. She goes, well, I thought this was the Rebel Alliance, and that stuck with me. Like, oh, okay, now she's, kind of turning it against him. I love X-wings, and I love dogfights with ships, so I'm really hoping we see something awesome with that. I like seeing the cockpit with the droids. Seeing the old Stormtrooper, the original Stormtrooper suit.
I thought that was cool too.
I loved seeing the Stormtrooper costume.
My first thought was when I saw I'm sorry, when I saw the original Stormtrooper costume in this new trailer, was that even though, as much as I love and became accustomed to that new design, and I still like it, it's just like that old design is just perfect. Like that is that is the ideal Stormtrooper. Maybe it's just because I grew up with it, and it's just kind of cemented with me as that's a Stormtrooper. But I love the old Stormtrooper look so much better than the new ones. Now the new ones, I don't think they should get rid of them, because I understand it's part of the story that they're progressing the costume. But if I had to pick one of the two, which one I like better, it's that one.
I agree. My brother laughed, but I compare the First Order Trooper like to an Apple iPhone, like the sleek 2-color, like it just looks like something very minimalist that Apple would come out. They took a good design and just sleeked it up, made it sleek, sexy, and not curvy, but just very contour. So I compare the First Order Troopers to, I think they were invented by Apple somewhere.
Yeah. Some things I picked up on in the trailer were obviously Felicity Jones, in that part where she said she's a rebel. And it seems to me, and I don't know, I know nothing about the story so far. I was actually kind of confused on the timeline because I kind of got the impression from all the build-up to today, over the past year or whatever, that this story was going to take place a few years before Episode 4 does. But it seems like it's going to take place like leading right into like the first days, or maybe even overlapping with Episode 4 a little bit, because we see the completed Death Star. It's the new station, and we see it being completed and taking off.
Yeah, that. Well, the first Death Star was. I mean, you're right. It's got to be right before it.
I might even overlap, man. Like it might even, like the part where Princess Leia is being captured up until where she's being brought into on the bridge where she sees Alderaan blown up. That might even be happening concurrently with Rogue One. You know what I'm saying?
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
If that was the case. Speaking of, kind of on this topic, I know that we saw the AT-AT walkers in a tropical scene this time instead of Hoth.
Yeah.
I've heard people out there complaining today, and it is the older Star Wars generation that I've seen people complain about this. So I thought I would bring this up and ask you. But how do you feel about technically now that an AT-AT walker shows up before Episode 4, and so it doesn't show up in Empire anymore? So,
what?
The AT-AT walkers showed up in Empire. So, but now, since the AT-AT walkers are in this new movie in the Star Wars timeline, like the first time technically the first appearance is now in this new movie and not in Empire, just timeline wise.
Yeah, to us.
Right.
What does that matter, though?
Some people are saying that it just ruins the story of Star Wars, and it is. They're just it's the original. I don't say the original generation, but the older generation are saying that it's taking away the the uniqueness of an AT-AT walker was in Empire, and that's
fuck them, man. Like that's like
because what is that over the thing? So they're saying, well, the rebels never knew about an AT-AT walker.
I don't think that's what happened. I think that I don't. Wait, maybe they do ask what that is coming, but I don't think that's what they're asking. I think like they're just not clear on what's coming because it's so far away, and then they get an idea of what's coming at them. I don't think it was supposed to be like this is a new piece of technology that the Empire had. I think that Empire Strikes Back is just something that they were unclear because it was like far away from them. Because when they look for the binoculars, I could be so wrong about this, and I kind of want to watch Empire Strikes Back now just to verify. But I think they even announced AT-ATs are coming after they look through the binoculars and see that that's what's coming that way.
Okay,
I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen Empire, but I thought, you know what, that's kind of, I don't agree with it, but it just, it's the same group of people that like completely complain about all of the special editions and, why change it? Why change it? Why add to it? Why can't we just keep it our way and be fine with the way that it was? So
yeah, and also maybe that if you're going to get so nitpicky about it, and I don't want to get nitpicky about it, but maybe that guy in Empire Strikes Back who asked, what is that? If that even happens, which I'm not even sure that that's what happens, but if that's what happens, maybe he had just never come across one before. You know what I'm saying? So that's really nitpicky, and that's really bitchy. And I hate people that sit down and just try to find something wrong. Now, if there's something wrong with the trailer, like if it just looks bad, bitch away. But you can't say that there's anything about this trailer that's bad. It's a good trailer. And,
it is. It's a great trailer.
And so the people that are complaining about that are really just sitting down looking for, okay, what can I bitch about with this thing? If that I hadn't heard what you're talking about at all today, And
I saw it was on like on a Twitter feed. People were just kind of going back and forth that I saw on my Twitter feed, and I went, like I said, part of me sees it, but then the other part of me is like, okay, that's just ridiculous.
now I have to watch Empire Strikes Back now because I have to be clear on what. But even if that's what happened, still fuck them. You know, looks great. Like, just enjoy that you're that you're getting to see these things again. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I wholeheartedly agree.
It's not like it's like what we were talking about in our Batman v Superman review. Every movie has something you can nitpick about. It's just when a movie is overall bad, that's when you tear everything apart. And there's nothing to even tear apart in this trailer. You're just looking for something to tear apart, and that's when it's bad to be a cynical jerk about movies. You know what I'm saying? So,
oh yeah,
that's obnoxious of whoever is the person that brought that up. But some other things I noticed about it. Her story, Felicity Jones' story, kind of, in my mind, parallels the story of Ezra in Star Wars Rebels. Do you watch that show?
I have not seen Rebels or Clone Wars. It's on the list of things to watch, but I've never, like, I know I'm going to want to binge watch it, but I've never just sat down to start watching it. I've always picked something else.
Well, without rooting too much,
go ahead. You can spoil away. It won't bother me.
It starts off with him being like a little pickpocket thief in a town similar to Mos Eisley. It might even actually have been at Mos Eisley, and and she's kind of a criminal in her own way too. And then he's taken on by the rebels. Seems like the same thing's happening there. So I wonder if, because the other day Brandon and I were talking about on the show how they were going to kind of have season 3 lead into Rogue One. So I wonder if she's going to somehow be a character in Rogue One. So that's that's an interesting question, I thought. Also, Mon Mothma, the lady in white. Do you know who Mon Mothma is? She's the lady in the white robe that is talking to Jin in the trailer.
The name sounds very, very familiar.
I think it's a rank, actually. I'm not sure if it's a name, but I think it's a rank.
Oh, okay. Because I know I've heard Mon Mothma before, but I can't recall where I've heard Mon Mothma.
I'm not positive about that, but I think Mon Mothma is a rank and not a name. But whoever's playing her, that's fabulous casting, because it looks like, when I looked at it, I was like, oh my god, is that computerized somehow? Because it looks just like her from what my memory is telling me. Now, she's not a huge character in the old trilogy, but she is a character that exists in the old trilogy, and whoever the lady that's playing her is looks spectacular. They pulled that off really well. The voice sounds just like her. What else was there? I have to say, this is a criticism I had before I saw the trailer today, but the movies, there's not been a Star Wars movie before that hasn't centered around Jedi. And this one doesn't at all. And I didn't even realize, really, that was going to be such a big thing. But this movie doesn't center around Jedi at all. There's not a Jedi, a lightsaber, or anything in this trailer. And it still pulls it off. It really looks like a war movie to me. You know, it looks like I don't even know what to compare it to, but it looks like a war movie to me. So that was pretty cool. We already talked about the old Stormtrooper uniforms. We didn't see Darth Vader, and he's supposed to be in the movie. But I think that's pretty cool that they haven't shown it. He's going to be like the Spider-Man of this movie. Like, I think they're going to hold out on him until right before the movie comes out, like a month before.
So what you're saying is that Jin is going to about kill Grand Moff Tarkin, and Grand Moff Tarkin is going to stop, look at the screen, and go, under ruse, and Darth Vader is going to
exactly
come out of like one of the like a oscillating door or something like that.
Man, I think that I don't see this being a happy ending kind of movie, because I think that a lot of the good guys in this movie will have to die just to fit into the story of what we originally learned in episode 4 when they got the plans, because a lot of people died getting these plans for us. So that's a cool thing. It's going to be kind of a darker movie, and it looks dark. It doesn't look like any Star Wars movie. It's not shot the same as any Star Wars movie I've ever seen before. But
it feels dark. It doesn't, like, it's not dark. Like, it's not, and I hate bringing this up, but it's not like it's not like Batman v Superman. Like when you look at it, you go, yeah, that's a dark movie. Like there's no, like you were saying, there's no HDR like film over the lens. It just it feels dark.
Yeah. But yeah, those are pretty much my thoughts that I've had about this trailer. I think it looks great. I wasn't completely sold on that it was going to be great until today, and now I just can't wait until December now. It has to be here tomorrow. I need this movie in my life, man. I'm going crazy.
I'm excited. I can't wait. So I have a crazy fan theory that I told you, that I kind of told you about. Well, I just told you that I had this theory before the show. And literally it popped in my head 5 minutes before we started recording. So, and it's probably not even wrong, but I think or not even right, but I think it would be interesting to say the least. So, what if Rogue One is a double entendre title? And what I mean by that is, what if Jen is with the Rebel Alliance, but she turns rogue and is actually with the Empire, and this really ends up being like a Captain Phasma origin story.
Oh.
Because Captain Phasma is a girl, and I don't remember the actress, and I understand that there's someone yelling at their iPod or iPhone. Okay,
not her name. It's Lyanna Tarth from Game of Thrones. I can't remember her name right now either in real life.
But I mean, if this is 3 movies before Captain Phasma shows up, what if she gets the plans and then she actually turns rogue on the Rebel Alliance, and she ends up being Captain Phasma? And the shot that made me think of this is right towards the end of the trailer when they kept reiterating, "What will you do when they catch you? What will you do when they catch you? What will you do when they catch you?" And then they pan up and they show her in like a dark gray, black...
A TIE fighter uniform. A TIE fighter pilot uniform. Yeah.
And I went, oh my God, she kind of looks like Captain Phasma there. It's a stretch, I know. But
I hate to shoot that down, man, but here's why I'm not saying you're wrong, because I don't know. But here's my thoughts on why I would not go with that theory. It's not just like it's 3 movies. It's, okay, between Star Wars, A New Hope, and Empire Strikes Back, there are 3 years that elapse. Between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, there's 1 year that elapses, roughly.
Okay.
And between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, there's roughly 30 years that elapses. So we're talking 34 years in the future. Also, to get into the Death Star to get those plans, or wherever the plans are at, I don't know if the plans are on the Death Star, but wherever she's going to get these plans, I think that TIE Fighter pilot uniform is just her way of getting in. I'm guessing they fly a TIE Fighter into wherever they're at, and they just sneak in that way.
Gotcha.
Now, I'm not shooting you down. I don't know, but I'm just saying that would not be something I would subscribe to as being a possible theory going around there.
It was, like I said, it was something, I don't know why the thought popped in my head, but I was like, that's so crazy that it may work, but it's so crazy it sounds stupid.
It doesn't sound stupid, man. It's part of what we're doing here. We're having fun. We're talking about. We're theorizing. You're supposed to do that kind of thing. It's just I'm expressing my side of like, no, I disagree with that. Here's why, and that's the fun of these talks. You get to say, well, I think this, and I'm like, no, I think this, and we can debate on it. And there's no right or wrong answer until we sit down on December 16th and see this movie. There's no right or wrong answer.
No, I
Except
agree.
that Luke Skywalker is not Rey's father. That's the only right answer. That is the only one in the world that is right. Oh. Sorry about that, man. I had a little coughing fit, and my headphones came unplugged.
Oh, it's all right.
Okay, let's move on to the next news story real fast. Doctor Strange has announced... Well, it wrapped up filming on Monday. I was excited to hear this. They had set photos released. They showed the costumes of him, Baron Mordor. The villain, who they haven't said who the villain's going to be yet, but they had him. I wasn't a fan of that get up with the... Did you see the villain's eye?
Was that the crazy eye guy?
Yeah, like he had those like scaly eyes. I wasn't a big fan of that look, but who knows what that's going to look like when it's all said and done. But they not only did it wrap filming, but they announced yesterday that Tuesday night, this coming week, they're going to be releasing a trailer for Doctor Strange on Jimmy Kimmel Live.
So unless it leaks early, like almost every other trailer, we may have another trailer next week, depending on when you and Brandon record.
Well, here's the thing I thought about. I was kind of excited for Brandon, because Brandon never gets the trailers, because you get the Thursday scoops, because you and I record on Thursdays, Brandon and I record on Tuesdays. But poor Brandon.
Kimmel's a late show now.
It's a late show. So Brandon and I record on Tuesday, and then a late show on Tuesday, it'll be released, so you and I will be the one talking about the Doctor Strange trailer. I was like, yeah, Brandon gets a trailer. No, he doesn't. It didn't work out for him that way. Poor guy.
Sorry, Brandon. I really am.
So there's not really a lot of a story here, except I kind of wanted to talk about my hopes for the trailer. I hope it's not just a trailer to where they kind of... How do I say this? Okay, like at the beginning of the first Tim Burton Batman movie, how they're kind of going around the logo.
Yes.
I hope it's not one of those things where it's just doing that while they have sound bites from the movie, talking, and then it backs out and it's just like it says Doctor Strange on the screen. I don't want that, because just don't give me anything at that point. You're just doing something for the sake of doing something. Wait till you have something, and then give me that. I want to see footage. I want to see special effects. I want to get hard about these like the Steve Ditko artwork that they're saying they're going to have, and the crazy psychedelic shit that they're going to have going on in the background, like they do in the comic books. I want to see all that stuff. Just wait till you can give me that, and wait till you can give it to me proper. Don't give me the half-done special effects. I'm sorry?
No, that's why I think we're going to see more. We won't see spells or anything, but we'll see maybe like I bet we see like Stephen Strange throughout everything. Not quite an origin story, but we'll see Stephen Strange, and then at the end we'll see him in costume. But I doubt we see anything with spells or special effects, because they just finished filming. There is no way that post-production has been able to add finalized quality of special effects and all the craziness that you were talking about.
Well, Travis, you have to keep in mind, though, and this is me stretching, but just because they wrapped shooting on Monday doesn't mean that they haven't been taking footage and prepping it during the entire production. Post-production goes on like during production. Like, they're doing special effects while you're making the movie. So, like, you get your dailies done. When you're making a movie, you make these things called dailies, which are what you film that day. And the director's constantly going through those, saying, okay, these are shots we could possibly use. They're giving them the special effects guys, and they're saying, start working on these. And that way he can pull from everything he has that he likes what he sees. And that's how they edit the movie together.
Okay.
Yeah. So there could be something in that way. So I have hopes for it, but there are other things I have concerns with, like... What did you think of the did you see the costumes?
Yeah, I've seen...
Like the real life shots of the costumes that were released the other day.
Yes, because Benedict Cumberbatch actually went to a comic store and bought a whole bunch of Doctor Strange comics.
I saw that.
In costume. So I've only seen one of the publicity stills, but I saw all the stuff where they're running around and it looks like he's casting a spell.
Yeah.
And it looks very muted, and it doesn't look very bright and vibrant, but it may just be the way that the camera took the picture, and you know what I mean?
Because what I saw, they were very bright costumes. Both him and Baron Mordor had these bright blue and a bright green costume, and I have the utmost faith in Marvel and everything they do, because to me they haven't really... I mean, they've made stinkers, but they haven't made bad movies, and they haven't not delivered. Like when they were making Guardians of the Galaxy, I wouldn't have thought that looked good. When I saw production stills of Captain America: The First Avenger, I was like, oh, that costume looks kind of bad. But when you see it on film, it looks great. What I saw from these production photos, though, it kind of made me think of, you remember the Double Dragon movie from back in the early 90s?
Oh man, that was so awesome.
Did you really like it?
Well, as a kid I did, because I love the Double Dragon video game. I love the Mario movie, but now they're horrible.
Wait, you like the Mario movie?
I did. I don't. I look back at it now with rose-tinted glasses, because at the time, before I knew who actors were, I was mad that Captain Lou Albano wasn't playing Mario in the Mario movie. But it was. I remember watching it as a kid and going, okay. And I liked it because it was Mario and Yoshi was in it. But now looking back, I watched it a couple months back because it was on TBS or one of those Saturday afternoon movies, and I sat down and watched it again, and I went, oh man, like it's one of those movies as a kid that you're like, oh, I love this, but as an adult you look back and go, well, that's bad. Like, that's really bad.
You know what would be kind of fun to do, Travis, is to get together, sit down, watch Super Mario Brothers together, and record a commentary track for people to watch that movie with.
That's awesome. That is a great idea.
Another funny thing about that Super Mario Brothers movie is that you can watch, if anybody at home is too young and they don't know what we're talking about, look up Super Mario Brothers the movie on YouTube, and you can find the entire movie for free on YouTube, and this is why. And it's a funny story that I found. This is how I found about it, was I read about it a few years ago on, I think it was Wired.com. The studio said, we don't give a shit. Like, that movie was such a loss to us, we just don't give a shit. So they just said, keep it on YouTube. We don't care. So there's multiple copies out there on YouTube. You can just find Super Mario Brothers the movie on YouTube to watch for free. But yeah, the Doctor Strange costume kind of reminded me of the look of the Double Dragon movie from back, or maybe Street Fighter the movie. You know, it had that cheap feel to it. I mean, it didn't look cheap, because I could tell they put a lot of work into it. But it was just like, does it really fit in with the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Is that going to match everybody? But at the same time, Doctor Strange is kind of a weird character, so he isn't supposed to fit in. So I need to save judgment for what I see on Tuesday night when I see everything going on. I'm stoked for it. I'm excited for the movie. I'm in love with the new run of the comic book series. If you guys are out there aren't reading that, I would highly recommend. It's like 6 issues in right now. Picking that up, going through it, and just diving into that. It's a really fun series. Oh, you know what, Travis? While we're talking about comic book series, let's talk about this real quick. This week they launched the new Moon Knight series and the new Black Panther series.
I noticed that. I picked up Black Panther #1 yesterday on my lunch break. I went to read it last night, but due to some family, not crisis, but family issues or come up, and so I wasn't able to get it, or wasn't able to read it. But I actually got the hip hop variant where it is Black Panther. They made a cover that looks like Jay-Z the Black Album.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I saw it. It was at the front of the comic store, right on the shelf, and I went, oh man, there's the new Black Panther. Oh man, look, it's like Jay-Z's Black Album. Well, all right, I'm gonna get it.
So. I think I'm diving into that tonight when we're done here. But the Moon Knight one is supposed to be a pretty cool new interpretation of him too. So I'm gonna dive into that one also.
I'm gonna check that out as well, because I've given Moon Knight 3 or 4 tries, and I always like it at first, but then it just peters out on me. Cool.
Okay, Travis, before the show started, I asked you if you knew anything about Cloak and Dagger coming. Not coming, but like the series in general, because I'm not super familiar with them. I know them from build up to the original Civil War, and I know them from. I think they were in a Spider-Man issue back then.
Yes.
And I think that might be the only place I've ever read them in the past. Talk about them for a minute, because there's a news story about them today that I find kind of interesting, and I don't know where they're going with it, but I think it's worth touching on.
Now, granted, it's been a few years since I've read any Cloak and Dagger, but Cloak and Dagger originally showed up as like a hero villain. They weren't quite sure what they were in Spectacular Spider-Man, so they were kind of spin-offs out of Spider-Man. And they are the darkness and the light. Cloak, and I don't remember, I think they were boyfriend and girlfriend. That's the part that's kind of sketchy in my mind. But Cloak is the darkness. He encompasses all darkness. So he wears this big purple/blue cloak. That's why he's called Cloak, oddly enough. And when he opens his cloak, he teleports. And he can teleport people in the darkness to other places. So he comes in, people jump into Cloak because it's an endless void, and then he can transport them that way. Well, Dagger is the light. So she has light powers and can shoot light beams out of her hand, kind of like lightning. But they have a symbiotic relationship. One cannot be without the other. The darkness, kind of evens her out from Cloak, and then the light keeps Cloak from going into complete darkness and evil. So it's kind of like salt and pepper and yin and yang. I
believe it's salt and pepper.
Very true.
Well, the news about them today is that, and this might be, when I read this, I kind of thought, is this it? Is this the beginning of the end for the comic book craze that's going on right now when it comes to making movies and TV shows and stuff? I guess ABC and Disney have decided that they're going to make a young adult romantic, like a Dawson's Creekish type show about Cloak and Dagger to be played on, it used to be called ABC Family, but now it's called something else. I think it's called Freeform. I think that's what they call ABC Family now. They changed the name of the channel. So basically what Freeform is now is where it's ABC's version of the CW, or what used to be called the WB, where they have shows like Dawson's Creek and they have One Tree Hill and stuff like that. But now that superhero shows can take the place of Dawson's Creek and One Tree Hill and things like that, they're going to have that, but in superhero form on ABC, and they're going to try to pick up that with that. So I kind of am worried that this is where the superhero genre kind of jumps the shark.
Well, they are definitely level, like, B-C heroes, like level B or grade B, grade C, kind of depending on, like, they're not your A-listers. So,
yeah. I mean, I know who they are, but it's always their supporting characters and story arcs that I'm actually interested in. I would never pick up a Cloak and Dagger comic book.
Exactly.
I was wrong also. I do remember reading about them in Secret Wars, before Civil War, but they also showed up leading into the new Secret Wars that happened in 2015 with, they were the way that people got away from all the bad stuff that was going on. So I do remember that. But Marvel this is what the list of TV shows that Marvel is going to have on the air now. They have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which nobody watches. I don't know anyone who actually watches that show.
And I couldn't make it through the first episode.
Well, everybody says
that's bad.
That if you watch it now, it's good. But and I'm the kind of person who, if I can't just start in season 3 and not know what happened before. So I'm going to have to watch 2 seasons of bullshit just to start watching this show. And I'm not going to do that. So that show's already lost me. Agent Carter, I watched the first season of that. Well, it was on as background noise for me at different times when I was like cleaning the house and stuff like that. So I kind of watched the first season of that, and it wasn't bad. Damage Control is coming out on ABC, which is going to be like a Office-style comedy show about.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that's actually a really funny comic book too. So that could be kind of cool. I'm actually interested in seeing that one. Then of course you have your Daredevil, your Jessica Jones, your Luke Cage, your Iron Fist, your Defenders that are coming out, and now you're gonna have Cloak and Dagger. So there's 11 TV shows on the air from Marvel. And it's just reaching the point of, I hope they don't all turn into you have to see these to know what's going on or get references from one another, because I'm not going to watch all of these. One of them I know I have no interest in catching up on to find out if it's good now. Another one I'm not interested enough to even watch the second season, which is readily available to me now. Damage Control I'll watch, but that's just more for comedy. I enjoyed The Office, and it sounds good. And the Netflix shows I'll watch. But I'm not going to watch Cloak and Dagger either. You know, it doesn't. The synopsis says it's like a teen romance, like Dawson's Creek. So
I feel like this is where Marvel is trying to be DC, because DC TV is amazing. They take B and C list characters and make you care about them, like Firestorm and the Legends of Tomorrow, Green Arrow. Flash is always an A character, but they're able to take these characters and make you care about them and love them on TV. So I think that Marvel, for once, may be trying to copy something DC is doing.
Yeah. I just wanted to touch on that since you said you knew who they were, and it was a slow news week, so I just wanted to throw that in there. Let's do one or two more stories, and then we'll close her out for the week. It looks like DC is getting even more nervous about their spot in the world now that Oh, by the way, Batman v Superman hasn't failed at all. It made enough money. It's good, but it's not doing as well as it should do, and it's not getting the reception that it should have gotten, that they would have hoped it had gotten. So now they're talking about, well, first off, fans have put a petition together to get Zack Snider kicked off of the Justice League movie. So they have that going on. So there's that backlash. They've changed release dates. Wonder Woman is moving up. They've added 2 new mystery films, which obviously one's going to be Batman. I don't know what the other one would be, but
probably, I think Man of Steel 2, probably.
There's a good chance. But Superman was so poorly received, but 2 times now. You think they're going to give him another shot at solo movie?
Oh, well, they can't. I forgot. He's dead. Spoilers.
Well, you know what, man? The only thing that would make sense there... I guess you're right. Well, he'll have to be back for Justice League. And both these movies happen after Justice League, because Justice League is just next year.
Now, I'll be honest with you. We all know how you and I felt about Batman v Superman. But if Zack Snyder can do just a train wreck job of the 2 best characters, I would love to see him do the Reign of the Supermen with just 4 crazy-looking Supermen and turn that... And that'd be so bad, it would be awesome.
Right. Well, I think we said that on the review of Batman v Superman. They need to go silly with this because it's went so serious before. The only way to redeem themselves is to go silly and admit that this is silly, and just go that way. Make that their brand of how they want to do things. But they're not going to do that. They've already set up this mood and this tempo for their series. So but they're also talking about possibly canceling movies that they announced previously, like Cyborg. But not only canceling movies, just doubling him up with The Flash. So Cyborg wouldn't get his own movie anymore. He would just be in The Flash's movie. It would be another team-up movie before there's a movie by itself. So they're just throwing darts at boards, hoping one hits the right spot at this point. And it just drives me crazy because you were given a free ticket to anywhere you wanted. That this is easy to make good. This stuff is easy to make good. Just do that. The stories exist. I mean, sure, you have to do some work in translating it from comic book to the screen, but the stories exist. You just have to make them make sense for the real world. You don't have to set this tone up. The tone exists to fans, and people are going to go see these movies regardless. Just do them right. And I guess it's easier to say do them right, but I don't know. They're not even giving the universe a chance to breathe. Find out what else is going to happen before you start changing things up. Stick to a plan for once. They just get so nervous, No,
this speaks. I think this is just DC in general. I don't know if you've seen the news, but Warner Brothers and DC, even as a publishing company, they did New 52. 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Almost 6?
2012.
And they're revamping it again this summer. It's going to be relaunched, and they're having another universe rebirth. So, and I know Warner Brothers owns DC like Disney owns Marvel, but right. I feel like just DC in general just can't, they're going to a poker game and playing with the cards right side up. Like they're just losing everything, and it's sad.
That's you can't really fault DC for what they did with the New 52 and Rebirth this summer. Because Marvel did the same thing. It's just Marvel does it right. Marvel started Marvel Now back in 2012 also, and
Right.
this year they started doing all new, all different Marvel. So
Right.
they do it every so often also. So it's not. Well, DC also announced this week that they're going to stop doing mid-budget movies. They're only going to focus on franchises from now on. So a bunch of movies actually, Netflix picked up 3 movies today. I read a story on. I can't remember. They're all based upon previously existing properties. But since Warner Brothers said we're not going to do these, they released them out, and Netflix picked them up to be made today, or they announced that they were going to.
Speaking of Netflix, real quick, I hate to tangent,
No,
but small news this week. All 99 episodes of Animaniacs is now on Netflix.
I saw that. I was so excited, and I was like, I don't have time to devote to this, so I can't start this. But I was so excited. I just hope that... the only thing I can pray is that I get sicker than I already am, so I have no reason to move out of a chair, and that I get a chance to watch that. But I used to love that show so much.
I loved all of it. Not Daffy Duck. What's he was in Tiny Toons. Wait, did they do? No, Tiny Toons had the little duck that did the toot toot go down to hole, elevator go up.
Yeah.
The Animaniacs was they did all the songs.
Yakko, Wacko, and Dot is who the characters are from Animaniacs, if I remember correctly.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yakko, Wacko, and their sister Dot, and Hello Nurse.
Yeah, and Pinky and the Brain came from Animaniacs. There are a lot of famous cartoons that came from Animaniacs, actually. Yeah.
So like I said, speaking of Netflix, go after you're done listening to us and watch an episode or 2 of Animaniacs.
Yeah,
You'll love it.
For the kids out there who don't even know what Animaniacs is, you're missing out. Like, go watch that. Is Tiny Toon Adventures on Netflix? Because I used to love Tiny Toon Adventures also.
Well, they were back to back, so that's what made me think that maybe if it's not on there, it might be on there soon because they're both
so good.
Warner Brothers properties.
Yeah, because I think, how you watch, people, when Saved by the Bell came on Netflix, people were so excited, but then they watched it and they were like, oh, yeah, this wasn't good. This was just happened to be what was on when you had limited options back in the day. Right. I don't see the same thing happening to these 2 shows because I can still watch Looney Tunes as an adult and be like, oh yeah, this is cool, because it's a cartoon. It's supposed to be what it is. And I think that Animaniacs and Tiny Toons would have that same vibe. It would still fit in. Now, Tiny Toons, as opposed to Looney Tunes, was more narrative driven. Like they had an episode with a few shorts in between, so it was like a narrative driven episode. But it was still a good show, and I would love to watch that with adult eyes. I would love to see how that's going.
I agree. Paul Dini did some Tiny Toons.
Yeah, he did.
So he's the god of modern animation within the past
Batman
10, 20 years.
The animated series actually sprung up from Tiny Toon Adventures because after Paul Dini did such a good job there, he and Bruce Timm, who also came from Tiny Toons, were able to start. They had their foot in the door, and they were able to start Batman the Animated Series. And we all know that's a great show to date. I still watch it sometimes when I have a chance, and because I have them all on my computer upstairs, so I still watch episodes of that from time to time. So if you kids out there haven't seen any of these shows, Batman the Animated Series. The original animated series, not like when it starts getting wonky and they do the split hour with Superman, but like the first 3 seasons of Batman the Animated Series, when seasons for cartoons were like 25 episodes long, so there's like 75 episodes that exist. Tiny Toon Adventures, God knows how many episodes of that there are, but it's really good. And Animaniacs, all great. Check them out. Very funny shows.
And you'll thank us later.
Oh yeah, you totally will. One more story, and then we're going to close it out because we're running short on time. It's a real short one. Universal Studios Monsters are trying to create their own cinematic universe. And they've tried to do that now with a couple of movies. They started with Dracula Untold. Do you remember that?
No.
It was a really...
I remember... I know that they were trying to get Tom Cruise at one point as part of this universe, but I don't.
Yeah, you already know where I'm going with this then.
Okay.
So they did Dracula Untold, which came out a couple years ago, bombed big, and it wasn't very good. I watched it myself. Then last year, with James McAvoy and the kid who played Harry Potter, they did Victor Frankenstein. And that bombed as well. I watched that one too, and it wasn't very good. Now, they're already rebooting it. They're saying, okay, we're starting from scratch again, and Tom Cruise is in the mix, and they're starting it off with The Mummy, starring Tom Cruise, and he's going to be a Navy SEAL going to the desert for some kind of operation, and the mummy comes into his life, and that's how the horror starts.
So this is official now. Like this isn't just
they're filming it. They're pictures. Yeah, it's being filmed as we speak.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's a real thing. Now the pictures didn't really give away anything except it was just them standing there being filmed. But why? Okay, you remember the movie The Monster Squad?
Yes.
Okay, why not make that your Universal Monsters cinematic universe?
Because it just makes too much sense.
Because
it was good.
You could make that for families, like make it a PG movie. Because the monsters, those monsters from the 50s, they don't have to be violent or like gory. That's not what they're meant to be. They're meant to be monsters that are family friendly. That's why little kids wear Frankenstein masks when they're walking around, at Halloween.
They were jump scare monsters. Like you got scared because like you jumped. It's not because Dracula was actually eating anybody or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like no gore.
Well, they're going the same direction. Well, okay, they're restarting it, but in the past movies, these are violent, dark movies. Why does the term franchise now mean dark and scary to movie studios? Why can't they just make a nice like a movie that you could let Gavin sit down and watch with you? It doesn't have to be gory. Just make a good movie, and it doesn't have to be rated R. It doesn't have to be terrifying to people. It just has to be a good movie, and you could have your Universal Monsters franchise, and it would kind of set you apart from everybody else. You know what I'm saying? It would let...
Yeah.
It just... I saw that today, that they actually began filming. They actually called it a reboot of the franchise. They already gave up on what they started, and they're starting again without even a year between... It's been like 4 months since... it's been about Halloween, so 5 months since Victor Frankenstein came out. So... They're already giving up and starting over again.
I blame them because I tend to have I know the pulse for, geeky movies, whether it's comics or sci-fi, and I kid you not, I had no idea that either of those two movies were out, or let alone that they were revamping the Universal Monster franchise. So they did a horrible job at even like trying to build on that. You would think they would have, unless I'm just dense, but I go to plenty of geek news sites and movie sites and things like that where I feel like I would have seen a sniff of something.
Victor Frankenstein would have been easy to miss, but I feel like if you saw a poster of Dracula Untold, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. It wasn't very well received, and they didn't market it very well to begin with. It was like a medieval type movie. You know what I'm saying? So it was like knights in armor, and it was actually about Vlad the Impaler, and they gave him... It almost looked like a Batman poster, because there was this guy walking out in armor, and he had these huge bat wings flying out. I guarantee...
Okay, I know
if you saw the poster, you would know exactly what I'm talking about.
I'm going to quote a great podcaster. It's not like there isn't a Google machine in my pocket right now that I can't that I can't look at it, which I just did. And now that you say that, I'm looking at it and I know exactly what you're talking about.
It just did very poorly, and no one I don't think anybody liked it enough or hated it enough to even talk about it. That's the thing about it. It was just a bad movie that it wasn't even worth the discussion, because it was like, yeah, that's a bad movie. There's nobody's going to discuss it with you, because why would you? It's one of those things.
Right. Why waste your time?
Yeah. Travis, that is all the news we have for today. We're at the hour. Guys, please, if you haven't yet, make sure you're subscribed to the show. Once you have done that, please make sure you leave a rating and review. It helps the show out, helps us grow. If you can find it in your hearts and you want to donate to the show like Ashley Meadham did, thank you again, Ashley. please drop us a few bucks on the old mainstreamgeek.com/donate. I'm getting ready to cough my ass off. Hold on one second. And like I always suggest, maybe make it $1, maybe make it $2, make it $3. If you want to leave $12, call that $1 a month for the whole year. I would love you for that. And I'm trying to think of special ways to make it, to deliver extra content to people who have donated to the show. So you will not be forgotten if you have donated to the show. So visit mainstreamgeek.com/donate, and that helps the show out greatly. That is all I have in the way of plugs today. Travis, do you have anything you want to plug?
No. I thought I had something, but for the life of me, I can't remember. So maybe next time.
All right, guys. We'll see you on Tuesday with Brandon, who's going to miss out on another trailer, I guess. Until then, keep it geeky.